By the year 1503, the great Leonardo da Vinci was 51 years old, widely famous across Italy, and yet surprisingly broke. Rulers across Italy viewed him with caution. He had a reputation for taking lucrative commissions and then abandoning them, leaving patrons with nothing but empty canvases and broken contracts. While we view him as history's greatest genius, his contemporaries saw a frustrating liability, a man whose brilliance was matched only by his lack of follow-through. This raises a question. Was his inability to finish a project a failure of character, or was this specific unreliability the actual engine of his brilliance? Leonardo's path began in the village of Vinci. Because he was born outside of marriage, he was legally barred from the elite schools that taught Latin, religion, and mathematics. Without a formal teacher to tell him what to think, he relied on his eyes. He spent his youth obsessively tracking the movement of water, the flight of birds, and the way light creates shadows. This method proved effective in Florence, where a young Leonardo painted an angel with such lifelike detail that his master, Andrea del Verrocchio, reportedly quit painting entirely in admission of his students' superiority. This early success confirmed that his observational method worked, but it also fueled a restless curiosity that made standard repetitive work almost impossible. Painting a human figure wasn't enough for Leonardo. He felt a compulsion to understand the mechanical reality beneath the skin, how muscles pull, and how the heart distributes blood. To find these answers, he visited hospitals to dissect human cadavers, a dangerous and socially taboo practice that offered biological truths he couldn't find in any book. He filled his notebooks with these anatomical maps, recording the shoulder and arm with an engineer's precision. He guarded these findings using mirror script, writing from right to left, keeping his insights hidden from anyone finding his private notes. Every missed deadline on a painting represented a breakthrough in science. Leonardo had shifted his focus from the surface of the world to the hidden mechanics governing life itself. In the 1480s, the Duke of Milan hired him to design weapons and festivals. Leonardo accepted the paycheck, but his mind was occupied with the physics of the sky. He spent hours watching birds, attempting to reverse engineer their wings. He believed that if he could calculate the mathematical laws of flight, he could build a machine to replicate it. This curiosity led to designs for parachutes and an aerial screw, a conceptual ancestor to the modern helicopter. These concepts failed because Renaissance materials like wood and cloth couldn't support the aerodynamic forces Leonardo was calculating. He was sketching designs that required a level of technology that wouldn't exist for another 4 centuries. Even when Leonardo committed to a major artistic project, his refusal to follow established rules often led to disaster. When commissioned to paint the Last Supper in a Milanese church, he was expected to use the traditional fresco method of painting on wet plaster. Instead, he experimented. He used a new, untested mixture of oil and tempera on a dry wall, so he could work slowly and achieve more realistic colors. The experiment failed immediately. Without the bond of wet plaster, the paint began cracking and flaking away while Leonardo was still alive. One of history's most celebrated murals remains in a state of permanent ruin because its creator prioritized scientific experimentation over the longevity of the art. Back in Florence, a merchant named Francesco del Giocondo commissioned a portrait of his wife, Lisa Gherardini. Leonardo created something that defied the standards of the time, placing the subject in front of a desolate landscape and giving her an expression that remains impossible to categorize. He worked on the canvas for over a decade, carrying it with him as he traveled and refusing to hand it over to the man who had paid for it. To Leonardo, the Mona Lisa wasn't a product to be finished and sold. It was an ongoing study of light and human anatomy that he could never bring himself to conclude. By 1516, the 64-year-old Leonardo moved to a manor in France under the protection of King Francis I. A paralyzed right hand eventually ended his ability to paint. He spent his final years surrounded by thousands of pages of unbuilt inventions and the Mona Lisa, which remained in his possession until his death in 1519. A legacy of 5,000 pages of notes eventually outshone his list of unfinished canvases. History remembers the depth of his questions long after the frustration of his broken deadlines has faded.